Hi Pedro, how you doing, man? You okay?
Oh yeah, everything good. Just finished training, eat already, so now just resting a little bit.
Nice, nice. Well, one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about is something that you've not actually got going on at the moment, but I know you've been kind of having a bit of back and forth with Mica Galvao. But before we get on to that, I wanted to take a little look back at your sort of like journey to this point because you've had a bit of a unusual past in the sport, I think, especially because I know as a kid you actually tried quite a lot of different combat sports before settling on jiu-jitsu. So can I ask, what was it that made jiu-jitsu the one for you kind of thing?
I felt like on the beginning, I was always, like I said, try doing different stuff and never get consistent with them, always do like something and then something. But jiu-jitsu game in some way there, I think about like you never done, you always learn something new. You're able to also to create your own thing. Jiu-jitsu have no rules about like, how you do things, if you work, work. So I felt the strategy as well, the side of the mental game, to be able to, you can know all the positions, but the main thing is how to put them together, how to make it work in a pressure situation. So I think that's what get me like, aficionated in jiu-jitsu and what make me stick with.
And then obviously you've done quite a bit of striking in the past as well. So was MMA ever anything that you had your eye on or not
Yeah.
really?
Was the first, I actually started, first training MMA was like a kid, like maybe like 16 years old, like a teenager. I was meet Vanderlei Silva in the airport. So when I meet him, I was looking, about him and I said, man, that's nice, So, and I felt like also in Brazil, we don't have many opportunities in the sports. So I always felt like the soccer was hard because you need to know someone to put you in a team, and I always loved, my dream was be a soccer player. I said, but that was kind of hard on the side. So in the other side, I felt the fight was just depends on me. If I win, nobody's gonna like, not give me opportunity. It's always about like kind of, make it happen. You're able to do it yourself without depends of much people, around. So I think that's what kind of, get me through it. And yeah, it was kind of like this.
So now that your jiu-jitsu career has really sort of like hit the highest level, are you ever looking at doing MMA again in the future, or is that not on the cards anymore?
Yeah, I think many times I already know about do MMA. Like I said, I started because there, but then I transitioned, to jiu-jitsu and everything was just happening. And nowadays it's hard to me to tell myself that it worked, like, cause MMA is awesome, I for sure you'll be doing want to fight in at least, I had this dream of become a UFC champ, all that, but I kind of put aside a little bit when you put the pros and cons. I don't know if I want to give more, I feel like 10 years of my life to something new and you see the damage that it can cause, even when you win, sometimes I watch some match and I say, man, I can't do this. I can't beat those guys, if I train a little bit. Uh, I can do that. And then I see other matches where even the guy win, he come out all broken, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to put myself on that spot, I think I admire them a lot, respect them a lot to do such a hard sport. I think that's the ultimate thing for real. Nothing can get harder than that. And but I don't know. Nowadays, I feel like jiu-jitsu it's going to big places, and I want to be part of. I also too don't see myself doing jiu-jitsu, forever. Maybe forever for sure as a training, but not as a competitor. You know, uh, Maybe I have more like I don't know. I don't want to put a date, but I don't want to seek after my 35. I'm 28 now, so I want to maybe start there and I want to do other things. I see jiu-jitsu as a way, no as an end. You know, it's just a part of. So MMA, I don't know. I don't want to say not because maybe I always say I'm the guy for the opportunities. If the opportunity show up the way I think is worth it, I will put myself on the spot. but I don't know if I'm want to do this now, start everything from the beginning again. And I feel like I'm start, getting the momentum going, as I have been doing this a lot of years, but I have been matured more now, So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with jiu-jitsu.
No, that's fair enough. And like I said, your jiu-jitsu career has really like hit the highest level over the last
Yeah,
couple of years. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about is I know your early sort of time competing in the sport at the highest level was actually really early on for you. Like you were only like what 4, 5 years in, and you were competing at ADCC. You know, it's just that's pretty
yeah,
crazy for most people. But I know that one of the big sort of like differences for you was getting into that Felipe Pena when he had the Golden Team.
yeah.
So how did that sort of like change your trajectory in the sport?
At first, I had the dream, of become a jiu-jitsu, competitor, but really didn't know the way to do it, like, because from my city, it's not many things made it, I had that one guy, just George Santiago, that he went to MMA side, but like on that time, we didn't much have internet, those things, so you kind of don't have access to him, so I didn't have nobody to kind of look up and say, man, I'm going to be like this guy, And when the opportunities to go to Philip project coming up, I was like, first I just went to the project to meet him. I didn't really want to stay there and say, man, I'm just gonna go out there and meet this guy. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu ever. I was searching about him. And when I get there, it was amazing the project. I did very good on the selection. So he selected me, and even on the day he selected me, I still like didn't know if I want to do it. Like I was like, I don't know, man, leave my home, leave my hometown and my comfort zone, right? So, but I have a couple of friends, even my professor. And when I get back, I was talking to him, and he said, man, you need to go, if you really want to be what you say you want to be, that's a good opportunity. And then find a, you know, okay, let me do it. And I went to Philippe and changed everything, because I feel when you start training with the best in the world every day, even he beat you up, each inch that you get closer, you felt like as a Superman, Say, okay, I'm getting close. Even, like I said, the days that he beat me bad, I was like, okay, I'm training the best. Nothing can get harder than this. And I think that was the game changer for me. And then I started competing under his name and win everything in Brazil. So I think like I was okay. I'm good on this. I can make this happen. And yeah, but trade Felipe for sure was the thing that changed that give the click on me. Be able to train with the best guy in the world. I remember to helping him to prepare for HCC 2017. I really didn't know what HCC was. He had no idea and was able to help him training. And when he won, he beat big names, Bushisha, Gordon on the finals. So that becomes something too that I said, man, I wanted to do this too. And the next HCC crazy, I was invited to be part of. I was just a fresh brown belt, like 2 months, I think 3 months as a brown belt. And was man amazing. And that was when everything changed for me. And once I did the HCC and like I say, Kazai too was something a little bit before as a purple belt that I did that give me this feeling to that I'm on the right way. I'm already purple belts, finding the best guys in the world. I got Craig George, Kainan Duarte, John Black. Those guys was already black belt season. And all that was happening, and I'm just was with the momentum. Even a lot of people ask me, like, man, why you pick no gi? Right? I always was a gi guy as well before that. But I just see that, I saw the wave and I say, let me surf this wave. I think I get here at the right moment when no gi was started popping up and many professional events. So you start making money, as a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. At that time, you don't see many purple belts fighting black belts, and I was doing it. Nowadays it's normal, but on that time it wasn't. Black belts they didn't accept that all match against low belts. So I was already doing that, and that give my inch ahead of everybody of my age of my belt because I felt that I had the privilege. Many people, you see, they give up sometimes and they get a black belt. because it's really different. You know, you can be a good purple belt, you can be a good brown belt, but black belt is different. You get guys that is already there like 5, 10 years, you know. Let's say you get to the black belt and you face Cyborg, you know, Cyborg. He's like 20 years in the black belt. So it's so much experience. And I had this privilege to be able to fight those guys when I was just a purple belt. So when I get to black belt, was not different, you know, from me. I was already doing that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that really does stand out about you is that through those ADCC appearances, like 2019 being your first one, even though you lost early in the tournament, you didn't look out of place or anything, and you had pretty much the toughest opponents you could have, you know?
Yeah.
And then,
On both champions, Matheus
yeah.
Diniz and Gordon, easy ones.
And then obviously when you've come back each time since, you know, you've looked a little bit better every time kind of
Yes.
thing. And
Yeah.
then when you had that sort of like interaction with Felipe back in 2017, 2018, do you think you'd have gotten as far in the sport as you have now if you hadn't had the chance to go and train with him then?
I don't think so, honestly, you know, because on the beginning, I didn't have, I always was a competitive guy, right? Like I always want to win everything, but I didn't have this idea of becoming, you know, a champion. At the time, looked so far from me, you know. Uh, the idea was just, man, I want to do good to be able to live from jiu-jitsu. You know, I want to do jiu-jitsu every day. But I believe a lot in God, you know, and the Bible says God do more than we ask for, you know, and that's what was happening to me. Things just was falling in place, you know, and I felt I was in part of a promise. I would say, like, you know, was something that was promised to me, and even without knowing, I was living, you know, that dream, you know, of do jiu-jitsu every day. And like I say, the beginning was just about do jiu-jitsu every day. But then once things start to fall in place, I said, man, I can do this at the highest level. You know, I can beat those guys. And, you know, since then, I cannot complain, no. Even with the ups and downs, you know, I think I'm very successful in what I do. And if you, because I always judge success is for me, is where you were started and where you are now, you know. And from where I start, you know, with no expectations, no support, you know, comes from a humble family and be able to now, you know, living good from Jits for me is a victory every day.
That's a nice way of looking at it, definitely, because like I said, the development that you've had, like seeing you in each of these matches now over the last couple of years, you've just gotten that bit better every time out. And when you look back at your ADCC performances over the last couple of years, is that still something that your main sort of like goal is doing the same as Felipe and winning an ADCC title?
Yeah, I felt like, you know, no excuse, but I felt I never was able to do a properly camp. You know, always kind of happy something through getting to HCC, let's say. 2019 was just like, you know, as a fresh, so I didn't know what to expect. And that was nice too, you know, did a good match with Matheus, lost by points, got submitted by board on the open way. Great. You know, I was kind of like, okay, I need that experience. I need to understand what is HCC. 2022, why we jumped 2021 was, yeah, because happened the COVID, so was 2022, right? Or no?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So 2022, I felt, you know, I just wasn't prepared the way it should be. You know, I make mistakes of like, I feel like close to the CC, some mistakes, you know, like about preparation. And there's no excuse just to say like, you know, how's the I style, you know? And 2024, same thing. You know, I won the trials. I felt unbeatable. I was like, man, DDTC, it's mine. You know, I just win the trials and I felt so good. But through those months before HCC, happened so many things in my life that I couldn't be able to perform. So for sure, it's something that frustrated me a little bit. You know, when I look back on those things, I like, man, like, you know, through HCC, and it's hard when you see everybody telling you, you know, man, you should win this HCC. You have the face of, you know, you need to win HCC. You need to win HCC. And I had the opportunity and I was able to make it. But you know, nowadays I see things on the other side. I still want to win for sure. You know, that's a dream. But like I say, I'm become much more like try living day by day and understand the ups and downs of the sports. You know, all the time I think about myself really to enjoy more what I'm doing because I felt I put so much pressure on myself for these last years, about those things like I need to win CC, or I need to win in all costs, and sometimes you don't enjoy as much, and the last years I all the time think, man, in 100 years nobody not gonna even think about me, even if I win 10 CCs back to back, this is gonna be gone, and so I'm really trying live day by day, Of course, I want to be remembered as one of the best to ever do it. Of course, I want to win as much as I can, but I also want to enjoy doing what I'm doing, not just put this pressure of I need to, I want to. No, I don't need to win. I felt what I'm doing on these last years, it's amazing. Uh, beat cup of the best guys in the world, lost for many others, but if you look at, it's not many guys that can say that had the resume I have, about fighting Gordon Ryan, the best ever, do not just match with him at ADCC, but also do a super fight with him, So how many guys can say that, you know, uh, even in the gears well, fighting very guy, I see all that as something that, you know, win or lose, I never back down for those guys, I always step forward and with the good mentality about win. So nowadays I appreciate much more that, So of course I don't want to take away. I would still want to win HCC, but I don't feel I need, I have been pretty happy with everything I've done. And I just think, I'm 28, so I have time to make that happen. But if it didn't happen to, it's not gonna be something that's gonna bother me, because I know who I am. And like I said, I'm feeling every day I'm wake up and I live my dream, I'm a winner, you know. Like I said, man, if you know where I come from, like from Brazil, because people normally they just see the last page, right? Like most of the fans, all that. But if they see where I come from, and what I'm living today, and I had no other people from my city that did what I did, you know. So it was a hard road, and never had nobody to kind of guide me, always was something that I need to, open up my sports. Never asked nothing for nobody, even, I was close to Felipe. I never asked him, hey, put me on this event. Hey, ask this guy this from me, or hey, ask, you know, nothing for nobody. So I always was, waiting for my time and try find my opportunities and create that. So, like I said, I want to win ACC, but it's not something that's gonna bother me. But for sure, my performances bother me. I don't care about win or lose, but I care about my performance, and I hope I do better next time.
No, that makes sense. And one thing you mentioned there, I think, is quite interesting, where you said about coming from like one of the more disadvantaged places in Brazil, and it's something you see quite often in this sport. The same thing that Felipe did, where a lot of Brazilian athletes that really make it to a high level like to sort of give back and create like those social projects and opportunities like that. Is that something you would want to do once you eventually step away from competing as well?
For sure, for sure. It's something that I've been doing already. Like how I'm gonna say, even not having the project, I always try to help guys from Brazil. Couple of my friends that I saw, during, they live with me there, and some of them still, try chasing the spot on the sun, and I always try to help them, try to help people around me as well, and if I see someone that I can, help them push forward, I do it. So it's something I've been doing already, but for sure, when I retired, I want to do it. I have my school today as well, so I feel it's, I'm gonna say, it's a place to give back. Even, of course, they pay to train most of the people, but I say, people that have no condition to pay, we always find a way to help them be able to train, be able to live the dream. Because a lot of people, I always tell, even my friends, fortunately, it's not everybody they're gonna make it as a champion. It's not everybody they're gonna be able to live from competition. But if you jiu-jitsu help you, like, become a professional, you can live good for it, you can uh, help your family, those things, even just by you come to United States or come to other countries and see, different things. Because sometimes, many people in Brazil, they just saw what they have around them. and when they have the opportunity to come here and see that the world's much more than just that, I feel that opened the mind, and yeah, and I felt they able to grow as a person, and that's also been my goal. I never want to put this pressure on them there about like we need to become a champ, we need to become a champ because I know how hard it is. And even you can do everything right. I know many people that do everything right, train more than me, it maybe even do more than me. But when you get there, they don't able to perform as they do and train. So, I always tell them, don't put this pressure, and don't need to be a champ. Like say you want to be, and sometimes things don't want to work on your way, but you need to find your way. Because you think, it's just one spot, the champ, right? It's first place, it's just one spot. How many people can do it? So I felt that. I thought I want to for sure giving back to them even more after I retire, but I've been doing this already, Try to help them with like sometimes just advice. I always tell people sometimes you tell the guys like you can count on me. And they always think about money. Say, brother, you can count on me, on advice, I can guide you. It's not always about the money side. And that's what I'm trying to do, inspire them, show them that it's possible. And if I did, a normal person, they can do as well. But not put this pressure. The only way to be successful is become a champion. I don't think like that.
Nice, nice. No, it's good to hear as well. Like I say, it's a very like from an outsider. Obviously, I'm in the UK. I
Yeah,
see it a lot with Brazilian athletes. That I think it's a really strong culture of like giving back and
yeah,
trying to help the next generation, kind of thing. So it is nice to see as well.
yeah,
And you mentioned, your sort of journey becoming a champion. Obviously, over it with who's number one. You've been the light heavyweight champion now for literally since the title came in. So
yeah.
you couldn't really ask for much more than that. And like we said at the beginning, your next match or the one you're sort of like angling for at the moment would be against Mica Galvao. I know you mentioned dropping down to middleweight, wouldn't it? So that you would both be able to actually get a title if either one of you wins. Was that your idea then to have both belts on the line?
Yeah, well, just like, a way to push the fight as well. I want to fight Mika for a while, and, but never was kind of like, I'm going to say, he was doing all this stuff in the gi as well. So he was all bees as well. And so when I won the last title, I called him out and then he won, he answered me. But I didn't thought there was, I don't say fair, but I want him to bring as well something to the table, not just he come up and try fight for my belt. I have been champ for 4 years already, like I said, since the belt coming up, I was the first champ of the light heavyweight. So I want to drop it down. I have been actually for grappling for a while already to fight for the title, even before he become a champion. Because like I said, I fight in 205, but it's not my natural weight. I had to really gain some weight, and I always, when I fight people, they know we're dropping from heavyweight. So I really want to fight on the weight I felt that I can perform best is 185, and was my idea, I say like, man, let's, you know, make this guy put something on the table too, not just come and try get my belt. No, put yours too. You're confident, so let's go. No, I'm not gonna run for nobody. Like I said, when I see sometimes people, talk, oh, he just want to promote himself or he just want to do this or do. Say, brother, I don't need that. Thank God I have been be very smart with my career, and I can't complain about money, nothing. Have my school. So, and about promotion, I really don't care about what people want to think about it. I really want to fight him. That's the only thing I want is to test myself against the best guys in the world, as I did with Gordon, as I did to Meregari. So I fight Gordon, the best ever, right? Nobody got even close to him yet. So it's like I'm not fighting just for names, like I'm fight because I want to fight. I say I'm not fighting just because I want to promote myself, but I want to fight the best guys in the world, regardless. And if Nick is that guy, I want to test myself against him, and I felt he is. Everything he been done in the sport is amazing. And it's not the guy I want to fight, but the number one guy. And even sometimes people offer match, I had some people already tell me, get this easy match here and we, just to perform well against him. But say, man, I don't want to like lost 2 months of my life, training just to beat somebody that I know I can beat. And I felt I've been done, like I say, for many people can be nuts, but for me, it's a lot, become a world champion at BJS, become, champion who's number one. In almost every promotion I have been part of, I have become a champ. So for me, it don't make sense to fight guys that don't bring me nowhere, you know. So I want to fight guys that, okay, they bring something to the table as well.
So when you mentioned Mica being, in your opinion, the best at the middleweight division, then is he the only person that you want to fight in that weight class, or is there anywhere else that sort of stands out at the moment? Then
For me now, it's him. Like I don't think much. I think other guys. Let me see. Tye Ruotolo you, right? Tye, somebody I want to fight again. I had a fight with him ADCC, so I want to run that back. But I feel like Tye, Mica, for sure too. I fought him many times already. Roberto, me. For sure we're gonna fight again. He have been doing amazing as well. So it's a guy that I have been look as well. Even we was in a Kazai team together, but I'm not calling you out, Roberto, but I know this will happen. And yeah, I think it's those guys. Like I say, I want to fight guys that bring me somewhere, because I know what a victory over Mika can bring to my career, to my resume. I know what's a victory over Ruotolo, brings to me, and victory over Roberto, even we fought many times already, 7 times. And like I say, now on the top of my mind don't come many guys, but those are those guys that I feel that they are at the top of the game. They are on the prime, and yeah, that's those guys. That's the guys I want to fight.
and that's one thing I wanted to mention to you as well, actually, because obviously you're the light heavyweight champion at Who's Number One, and you mentioned moving down in weight. But just recently, obviously, Mason Fowler won the UFC BJJ title at light heavyweight as well. Would you ever consider going to compete against him in the UFC BJJ matches?
For sure, we did a match I think 1 year ago. He was 215. So like when they asked same thing, like that's why sometimes I feel disrespected, when people tell that I'm gonna fight somebody for any other reason that is not to fight because I want to test myself, you know. Because when I fight Mason, same thing, people offer him 225. I say, I get him, no problem. And then they drop to 215, and it's okay too, I wasn't worried about weight. And if you see the match in the 10 minutes, I dominated him, bottom to top. But he was able to on the overtime again, and so yeah, for sure, I want that match as well. It's a good name as well, Mason. He has been doing amazing as well. He's another guy that, have been fight many great guys, and having his ups and downs in his career. And now that he has his title, even without the title, I would fight him, because I felt somebody that beat him already. So I want to run that back. And I know I can beat him, I have no doubt. So for sure it would be a great match against him, but I don't want he wants that, he knows. Like I said, he knows. The last match we did, even now he called many guys that I just beat, but he didn't call my name. I'm no one like, push nothing to myself, but everybody that saw the match see it was 10 minutes of pure domination. And then they stopped. So like, was kind of another match and he was able to capitalize. Props to him. And I was dumb, was try kind of finish him because that is, but he's had a lot of experience. Yeah, for sure. I want him. So Mason, let's go, boy.
Nice, nice. And then the only other thing I really wanted to talk to you about is actually your most recent performance when you won the BJJ Stars Absolute Grand Prix. Obviously, you did amazing on the day. You know what I mean? Won all three matches, but one match in particular, I think it's something unique was when you came up against Fabricio Andrey, because a lot of people, even 2, 3 weight classes heavier than him, have a lot of trouble with him in these absolute tournaments. He beat Giancarlo at Polaris. He's beaten guys in your weight class, not easily, obviously, but he's had amazing performances against them. Did you find that the size difference didn't actually matter that much then when you ended up facing him?
Honestly, I was the match I was more nervous of, even going to the match, knowing what he did already, those guys, there's very high level guys. And, I won't say it's easier to fight when you lighter, but the pressure had over him, it's less than have over us that is like a heavier, right? So the heavy guy, you need to beat the light guy, right? So Fabricio come with the mentality of, man, I just need to do my thing, and I don't need to worry about nothing. If I win, great. I don't say he think like that, but it's like the overall idea, right? If you lose, it's okay. The other guy's handling him, you know. But Fabrice, for me, he's one of the best pounds for pound ever. Like the way he able to put the judo, on the grappling matches. Not many people that can do that. He beat even judo guys. They're right. Judo, they're very good guys. I think Owen or something like that. There was. So when I went to that match, I was very nervous, but I knew like I said, I knew my capability. And I know, like, every time if I'm ready, if I'm really had a proper training camp, and, it's not every day that you're going to be with things aligned, physically, mentally. But I felt that day I was like that, I was reading the flow state in a way that I thought I was unbeatable, and when I went to the match against him, I knew what his strategy would be, So I say, I'm going to start attack to the begin to the end. I won't stop attacking him. I'm going to move in front of him. And I felt that would start frustrating him, you know. So more he get frustrated, more I was kind of like growing on the match. I would say like that, and but yeah, Fabricio was for me the match that made me more nervous. Even Yatan, there was like, three Fabricios, three Fabricios, but with him was like, man, I cannot. I felt he was the danger one on a way of like he could finish, and one mistake you made it, you capitalize. So he's so good on that, if you see the first match against Javier, right? He dominated Javier bottom to top. And Javier is much heavier than him, much heavier than me. But like I said, I always believe a lot in myself, and I felt also I have the trick, the guillotine, right? So I knew he wouldn't fight the same way he fight other guys, And anybody that fight me, if you see anybody, sometimes my matches get boring, because people don't do nothing, and they expect I'm doing everything, but because they get so afraid of the guillotine, that they freeze, and most of the time you see they change the game, Happened this with Bodoni, happened this with other guys where they really get out of the game because they don't want to put themselves on their spot where I can catch them, And with Fabrice was no different. I knew he would respect that, So I knew he would be worried about it. No, nobody wanna get finished, you know. So I knew he would be worried, and so I get more confident with the time goes, the match going. I felt I was, win the exchanges. So yeah, it was great, man. I was very happy. But even there, I was joking to him after, that even I won the GP, I beat three guys, and he still make the highlight of the night, with that throw. Say, bro, you get all the shine. So much
And
respect for him. Love the guy.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, he really does shine in the absolute tournaments, obviously, because, like you said, there is an element that as he's smaller, people don't have high expectations, obviously,
Yeah,
but he always manages to exceed them, so it is great to watch, obviously, and it's nice to see that you've had that same sort of experience just being opposite him as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. No, he's a legend. I feel like his energy, he's very charismatic, and and he's very good, overall in jiu-jitsu. Like it's not just judo, it's not just there, but if you see the consistent, he have been beating all the best guys, and I think like on his weight class and overall, he's one of the best guys of this generation.
And then obviously, since winning the BJJ Stars Grand Prix, obviously you've got a little bit of time off now. Um, I know you're not competing at CJI2, but is that something that was ever like considered? Like, did you want to do it originally, or?
Maybe. Yeah, we are talking with some people. Maybe happen. I don't have confirmation yet, but maybe happen. Yeah, first they would put a grease bar team, but then I think I don't know what happened. Didn't happen. So, but like in all the teams, they are already closed, in a way that they have those guys already on each weight class. But maybe pop something up and maybe I'll get in. I felt like anybody watching me, on the team, especially the format. was when you can fight like heavy guys, light guys, and I'm on the middle range, right, where I can fight like say we just talk about Fabricio, right? I can fight the smaller guys good, and I can fight the big boys like Yatan, the points like I did before with Lovato, all those guys I can fight as well. My style works for everybody, so I think I would be a great addition to any team.
Nice, nice. And have you got anything else planned for the rest of the year now then, or is that it?
I have a couple, seminars. So probably if I fight and I want to fight, well, it'll be like November, December, because I want to focus well on the seminars. That's where I have been, shine as well, doing a lot of seminars. Thank God, many opportunities. So meet many people. And seminar is very fun for me nowadays. And it's one of the things that I like the most about like being an athlete, be able to travel and teach seminar and meet new people and be able to share a little bit of my history. Cause I see like a lot of people see me, and even my fights, even me sometimes I try to aggressive from the fights, So they think I'm like, oh, I'm aggressive, I'm a dumb guy, but I want you to show more about my life as well, where I went through to be where I am at today, why I'm so aggressive, because for me, especially for Brazilians, if you talk with any Brazilians, most of them, they had Jiu-Jitsu as a way to change their life. And for many other peoples, I don't know how it UK works, but here in US at least, many people see just as a sport. It's just a sport, it's just a sport. But for me, it was never just a sport. It was a way to change my life, was a way to help my family, to get opportunities. That's why, every time you see me fight, I'm like, I'm fighting. I'm not doing a match. It's not jiu-jitsu match against me. It's a fight. I will headbutt you. I will kick you, whatever I need to do to win. And, and I will do it. So yeah, I want to share more about my history when I do those seminars, but I also want to be active fighting, and like I said, I want to fight people that make sense, if they come some names that I don't think like, make sense for me, I won't do it because every time you fight, especially jiu-jitsu is, it's not that crazy money, you spend a lot of money on preparation and then you need to pay taxes and then, you take like 2 months off at least to train for somebody. So it need to make sense, because 2 months off is 2 months without seminars, 2 months without teaching. So yeah, for me nowadays, like I said, I'm very happy with what I'm done and I want to do much more, but I feel have a key tournaments that I need to win to make me fulfill my thing and couple matches as well, like that makes sense for me. I mean, for sure, I want to defend it with number one, so maybe December, end of November would be a good month for me.
Nice, nice. Well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through with you and all we've got time for at the moment. So is there anything else that you want to say or anyone you want to give thanks to or anything like that?
No, just thank you, man, for the opportunity, for the space, to talk about my life a little bit. Also, sometimes you ask something, I was like run to the other ways, but it's just, sometimes things that stick with my mind, and I want to tell people, because you see so many bad comments sometimes on the internet, and that's really sometimes, make you kind of like, I'm gonna say, lose a little bit I want to say the right word. You kind of get upset a little bit with this jiu-jitsu word sometimes of so many, yeah, any words, right? Internet, let's say, not just jiu-jitsu word, but internet word, where they talk a lot of bad about you and they even know you. So that get me upset sometimes. Even you try, oh, I don't read that, I don't want you to think about it. But it's nice to talking about my life a little bit, and they understand that I'm here on this position. If I'm getting these opportunities because I deserve, it's not because nothing was given to me, And I'm a good guy.
Nice. No, definitely. I mean, I think you are, at least from the conversation we've had anyway. Well, thanks very much for your time, Pedro, and take it
Let's
easy,
go.
all right?
All right, bro. I appreciate it.